2004 during the North America tour. And Bill is also a Sahaj teacher. Yeah, and I would like to hear more from you, Bill.
Yeah, definitely.
We had great time with Bill. I was going to Bill and Anne's house for Longria for 8 years, I think. We used to have so much fun.
Wow.
Hey there. Hey, Rama. How are you doing?
Good.
I've got a doctor's appointment, so I'm going to leave now. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, so Bill, we would like to hear from you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We would like to hear from first how Bill came to path, first Sudarshan Kriya, all those things. We have a lot of time. Yeah, please.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know how common these stories are, but I started transcendental meditation as taught by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi when I was at the university in 1974. And it was my first introduction to any kind of Eastern practice. But to be honest, I was getting pretty neurotic and really needed the help. And it really helped me become more of a better human being as well as a better student. So that put me on the path, I don't know, 45 years ago almost. And, I enjoyed the practice. It was a bit mechanical, but in 1990, my wife, who you just met, she went to probably the last course that Guruji taught, at least here in North America. It was in Rhode Island, and she took a course. It was just called the Art of Living course, or the basic course at the time. And she took it. It was incredible being with the master. Guruji has always said the journey in life is from the head to the heart. And for those of us, especially with technical backgrounds, we spend our lives in our heads, and we ignore the heart value. And she came back and just knew exactly who Guruji was, and that he was a master that would really unlock the secrets of the heart and allow us to use his wisdom and his knowledge to take us on that journey. So anyway, after she got back, she insisted that I took the course, which I did. And shortly, this was 1990, and then later that year, I went to a very small silence course here in the U.S. That Guruji was teaching, and I met him for the first time. And in 1990, he was quite a young man and basically fairly unknown. And so, a course with him at the time, 30 people was a big course. And, nobody realized that you could go sit in his room. When the course starts, you could just go sit at his feet. If you had a question, you just ask him and he would answer. And it was such a beautiful, casual, but sweet and loving experience, and something it had never happened to me before, never, ever, ever. And that's when I really really knew that was the path that I wanted to be on. And the transcendental meditation prepared me. It's sort of like a farmer plowing his field. The TM plowed the field and got me all ready for meeting Guruji and really recognizing who he was and what he was offering to us, to humanity, really. So, I went in 100%. And at the time, shortly after that, the Canadians bought the big property in Canada, and we started what was called the North American Ashram at the time in Canada. And Guruji came there a lot. I think he came there 4 or 5 times a year in the 1990s. And it was just the sweetest experience being so close to him. I know a lot of people who've been with him this long have all these wonderful miracles that they've experienced with him. I would call it a miracle, but maybe some people might think it's somewhat ordinary, but he really allowed my heart to blossom. And for me, that's kind of a miracle. And but no, no colorful stories, just the sweetest, most loving experience. And I've encouraged, friends and family to get involved. And I think all of you must have seen that little history I wrote for Rama. We started an Art of Living club at NASA where I was working, and a lot of people were very interested. It was really, and to be honest, I had a little secret that I shared with them, and not only will Kriya and the meditation and the knowledge open up your heart, but it balances both sides of the brain, the analytical side, the side, and the intuitive side. And to be successful in any field in life, you have to be well trained in the intellect. But if your intuition is sharp and your mind is quiet and clear, that's the secret to success. And so even though most of us have gone to Guruji to get rid of stress and anxiety and crises in our life, the long-term benefits are not only emotional but professional. Well, it just improves every aspect of our lives, and I found that as my personal experience. And throughout the 90s, it was so easy to spend time with Guruji and ask him questions, and just, I don't know. And then the 2000s came along and he became much more famous. And then it became harder and harder to get close to him. And my wife and my son and I came to the Silver Jubilee in India, and with hundreds of thousands and millions of people around me. And that's when I knew, he was famous around the world, and my experience with him in the 1990s, that really personal, sweet experience, was just something I would treasure and remember, but I knew it wasn't going to happen again. And so for me, that's kind of my story with Guruji. But he inspired me to share the knowledge. And even though there isn't that real immediate connection with Guruji, it's just sharing the knowledge and being with all of you and all the people who've done these things all these years. It's just been such a joy. And one thing I didn't put in that little bio, which is kind of fun, it of course a long time ago now, but Guruji in the 1990s started what were called at the time the knowledge sheets, or the knowledge facts. And they have been compiled into 7 books, the Intimate Notes, and then recompiled into Celebrating Silence and Celebrating Love. And Anna and I handled all the faxes and helped compile some of the original books, and that was a real sweet experience to to write a couple books for Guruji about his wisdom and about the man, and so that was that feels like such a wonderful accomplishment for me that it's just been a great experience.
I see Bill and Anne's name on Celebrating Silence on the first page. Yeah.
I think some of the later editions, and I'm glad they did it. They disconnected it from anything but Guruji's knowledge, and that's a good thing. It's really all about him, and the world needs to know more about him. And a lot of people, thousands, maybe millions of people have helped him, spread his wisdom, and all of them should, feel blessed that they had the opportunity to do that. So that's my story. It's fairly simple, and no miracles except for what happened in my own heart. So
that itself is a big miracle.
Yeah.
And Anand, we did DSN with Anandji in Washington, DC, right? Lanham. Remember DSN with Anandji?
let's see. I think Ann did that one. Yes. That's right.
In
Were you in that
2016.
course?
Yeah, I was there in 2006. November, we did that course, right, with Anandji. And Srinivasji is Anandji's brother-in-law, the host right now.
Okay. That's right. It was, I have to admit that DSM was the most powerful and the most painful course I have ever taken. It was, I just felt like I was on fire after that. I felt just totally cleansed, but it was a challenging course. But I recommend it to anybody who wants to really push past their boundaries and, really feel powerful. So yes. Oh, okay. Well, I don't remember you being on there. There's quite a few people on that course. And so
250 people, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the largest.
Can you please tell about IAHV, Bill?
Oh, yeah. I thought there was an IHV office in India, but there are each country. Quite a few countries have IHV organizations. The International Association for Human Values was started in the late 1990s by Guruji. It's a sister organization to the Art of Living Foundation and VVM too. And the goal there was to have the Art of Living Foundation really represent the teaching and the courses for the general public. And then the specialty courses and the service programs, the SEVA programs, were intended to all roll up under IHV. And at the time, it was the 5H program to help develop communities, mostly in India, but elsewhere in the world. It provided homes and health and community-wide programs. Today here in the US anyway, we have the Prison Smart program. We have the Sky schools and the Sky universities, where of course the Sky technique, the Sudarshan Kriya is taught in public schools as well as universities. Probably one of our most valuable programs is the Project Welcome Home Troops, which teaches Kriya to a lot of the returning soldiers who've suffered PTSD and brain injuries, and probably the worst of all, the moral injuries. And it's taught them how to shed some of the really incredibly painful stress that they've accumulated through their experience in wars. And it has significantly reduced the suicide rate among soldiers who've had these bad experiences. And then a few other programs come in underneath that, but those are our main programs, at least here in the United States. I think very similar programs are taught elsewhere in Europe and other places.
They're doing it in Iraq too.
Yes. I was just going to mention we do have an IHV sister organization in Iraq, and there has been a lot of teaching there. Mostly it's been for helping people deal with the trauma of the war. Especially among the victims, people who are displaced, and women and children, people who get incredibly hurt by what's been going on there, and it's really helped them recover. And it's been an extremely valuable program for people like that. And our hearts and our help should go out to all those people. I know you guys have really struggled with the COVID here recently, but most of us here in the US, and I know in India, the life has been relatively easy And we got to keep in mind the people who are struggling in the world. And so that's what IHB has been doing.
What is Guruji for you, Bill?
Oh, you know, it's funny you asked that. I think about that a lot. And here's kind of the conclusion I came to. You know, we have our parents, and as much as we love our parents, and for a son, we look up to our fathers. You know, as an adults looking back at our parents, we see, well, yes, they did the best they could, but there were still flaws, and there were still some things that if they had the knowledge, they could have done things differently and better. And I remember when I met Guruji, I was thinking, you know, he's like the perfect father. He always has just the absolute perfect advice. He's honest and straightforward and available. And, you know, even though he and I are about the same age, you know, it was like he was the perfect parent. And in all those early years when I spent a lot of time around him, I would never. I was careful at first because I wanted to make sure if I was going to give my heart to someone, that someone was legitimate. So in the early years, I looked very carefully at everything he said to see if he ever made a mistake. And I tell you, I don't think I ever spotted him. One time I thought he did, and it turned out I didn't hear him correctly. And when I went back and listened to what he said, you know, his advice was perfect. And so to me, he's the perfect father. So,
Very good.
yeah. So, you know, any more questions or, you know, whatever?
University, you have any other questions for Bill?
So that Canadian ashram story, Adu Damarama.
Yeah. Yeah, so there is a story that I've read somewhere about the Canadian ashram, right? It seems it belonged to some guy, and he was making the road, but he didn't know why he was making the road.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I forget how big it is. It's 300 or 400 acres, U.S. acres or English acres, I guess, which is a pretty big piece of land. And this old farmer, he was developing the land for a reason he didn't really know. He was putting in roads, and I think he maybe even put in some of the smaller lakes, and then when the opportunity came to make it available to sell it to the Art of Living Foundation in Canada, he met Guruji, and it was remarkable. You know, he was a very simple man, you know, honest but simple. And Guruji said he was incredibly sattvic. I remember they were standing next to each other, and that was what he said. He was a very sattvic man, and he was the man only spoke French because it was the French-speaking part of Canada, so I didn't understand him. But Guruji communicated that the man was making all this stuff, and he didn't know why, but he knew there was a good reason. And when Guruji came along, he knew that was the reason, and he was so happy that it was being turned into an ashram. And for those who haven't been there, it's really beautiful. It's kind of in the northern wilderness, but it's been developed into this really beautiful retreat ashram. Maybe 10 years ago, they put in a really big meditation hall that probably holds 3,000 or 4,000 people, and they host they were hosting a Guru Purnima celebration every year. We were so fortunate Guruji came to North America for Guru Purnima, and so yes, Montreal ashram, yes. I think they refer to it as officially as the Canadian ashram. It used to be the North American ashram. We bought a big property down in North Carolina, in Boone, North Carolina, which has become the North American ashram. The Canadian ashram is north of, just outside of Montreal. So it's in the French province of Montreal. So yeah, beautiful place. Go if you can. The question came up, do I discuss about art of living with other scientists at NASA? Yeah, on occasion. I let them know scientists are very analytical, as you know, and I know that personally. I would invite them to, the meditations, and a lot of them would come, and they would really enjoy the experience, and then they often try to relate their experience to their research work, their analytical work, and some of them their intellects are so strong that they know intellectually that these practices and this knowledge is good, but they can't bring themselves, many of them, to actually try and experience it. And however, one scientist in particular, Dr. John Mather, he had met Guruji once many years ago and agreed to come to the Washington, D.C. Kennedy Center to participate, to be on the stage with Guruji during the U.S. Silver Jubilee celebration at the Kennedy Center.
And Joe Biden was there on that day.
Yeah,
right?
Joe Biden was there, yes, but he was a senator at the time. Now, of course, he's president, but yeah. And so there are some scientists who are open-minded and very willing to, explore, this new avenue, or I maybe call it a third dimension of knowledge, that's not real analytical, but rather experiential. So we'll get there. Sometimes it takes, one of the things that IHV is started and is planning to develop is improving the research, the outcomes, on a lot of these programs, like with kids in particular, school kids, college kids, and soldiers, and try to make a lot of people listen to quality publications that are done by legitimate independent scientists. And I think once that is underway and has been published, I think we'll see a lot of mainstream science and medical people getting more involved and recognizing the value of our programs. So yeah, one of the things I've noticed in my teachings is that most people come to these programs because of some crisis, that something has happened in their lives that have made them really stressed and unhappy or depressed or whatever. And they're looking for a way out of the crisis. And so they take the programs, and most people, it really helps them with those crises. And a lot of people, once the crisis has been resolved, it's easy for them to let go of the program. But a few of them will say, wow, there's something more here than just, getting rid of this depression that I had. I mean, there's some, real long-term benefits here, and they'll stick with it.
Exactly.
And,
those are the lucky ones.
Yes. And I count myself in that. I was just having a crisis in college and the university, and it got me through the crisis, but I realized, wow, there's some power here. And yes, exactly, Rama. It's those who see the value beyond solving a crisis are the ones that really, really benefit from this. Mm-hmm. And one other thing too that we all have the potential to be saints. Guruji has always said that enlightenment is our birthright, And that's every single human being that's ever been born. Enlightenment is our birthright. And enlightenment, all the saints in history are really people who are enlightened beings who, in many cases, it was accidental. You know, they were born at the right place at the right time, and you know, they found their enlightenment and became saints. But here in the West, it really is, it's all accidental. And one of the things I love about this tradition that comes out of the yoga, the old Vedic civilization, is that you actually can culture sainthood. You know, you can systematically, you know, apply the knowledge, apply the techniques, and culture this experience of sainthood and create saints to help bless the world and make the world a better place. And so the ability to, you know, to have more saints walking on this planet are, you know, it's such a powerful blessing and something we really need now. If for those of you who pay much attention to the news. So
that's a wonderful perspective, Bill.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good.
So all I could say is you all go out and be saints to the rest of the world. We need them. Oh, if you have a choice to go into space, which one would you prefer, space shuttle or Oh, you know what? I do have a Guruji story. That I went to see him at a silence course in December of 1990. So it was the first time I met him. And I was sitting in his room, which of course was a blessing in its own. But I told him I worked at NASA, and he laughed and he says, "Oh, so you're exploring outer space and you're exploring inner space." So that's an answer to the question. You can have them both. Depends on which space you want to go into. You know, unless you have a lot of money, you can't go into outer space. But anybody with the means to learn how to meditate can go into inner space. So we can all do that one.
Good. Thank you so much, Bill. Thanks for joining us today and sharing your wonderful, special, personal stories. They're very inspiring.
Well, yes, I know they weren't spectacular stories, but hopefully they
No, they
very
are
well used.
very. They have a lot of depth, a lot of meaning. I was always connected with you, and I really enjoyed the long crises. I miss them so much here.
Yeah, I miss those too.
Any advice regarding seva for the group here to inspire them to do seva? What do you? I mean, how do you inspire them? What is your suggestion?
Well, I would. There's a huge section in Celebrating Silence on service, seva. And just read through there because Guruji reminds us over and over and over again that one of the steps to being happy is to be of service to others. And and it could be small things. You know, if your neighbor needs some help, or your mom needs some help, or one of your kids' teachers needs some help. It could be little things. It's just little things that'll just make your heart feel lighter and happier. And it's just, you don't have to quit your job and go work for a nonprofit or anything like that. There's opportunities to be helpful to people, big ways and little ways, and anywhere that you're at. And Guruji points that out over and over again. If you're ever feeling blue, just go help someone. And it just, that feeling will just be lifted, and you'll just be left feeling so much better. Yeah, seva is really important. Service, yeah. Guruji always brings that up as, one of the ways to happiness. Balance your work life and be of service. Take care of yourself,